You can make it. Make it. Just keep praying. Just keep praying. And you'll see that God will see you through. Keep your head up. Don't you give up. Don't you give up. And you'll see that God will bring. Make us all right.
Business, you know, I spent a lot of time working in the communications and high-tech sector with multinationals like NCR and that. So computers and communication, I got over 10 years experience in that. But equally, I spent some time in the world of sport. And I've had a number of years working with athletes in track and field, from the nice little cute ones that sort of do as they're told to the big ugly ones you see on TV running around at sort of Worlds and Olympics and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I do. I'm a performance coach, so you know, I deal in performance. But if you like, my currency is people. It's about enabling people to perform. That's what I do. And so I do that in sport, I do that in business, I do that wherever I go. And what I've found down the years is that in order for people to be successful, to achieve things, and more importantly to sustain that achievement, it's all well and good getting up there, but once you're up there, you want to stay there. There are lots of things that matter, but for me there are three things that I see cropping up time and time again. And so those are three things I just want to spend a little bit of time on this evening. You know, and they are motivation, belief, and goals. And these things get bandied around all the time, but I just want to come at them from a slightly different angle to the way that you might have come across them beforehand. So let me just say, I always work better, and I prefer things when we just kind of keep it as an informal chat. So if anything, I might just shout up, jump in. I don't kind of do with that. You sit quietly and wait until I've finished and then, because you know, if that's the case, then you'll be asleep just about 5 minutes before me. That's never a good thing. All right, so look, I just want to start with this thing of motivation, and let me just ask you this from the point of view of considering my world. You know, as a coach working with elite sports people, right? How high do you think it is in terms of my priorities to make sure that the athletes are well motivated? Yeah, and you see that's a common answer that I get. People go, it's everything, and I guess that's why people find it a bit surprising when I go, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not motivating anybody. Absolutely not. Don't get me wrong, if there's some kind of short-term emergency, I'll consider something. But as the norm, do I want to try and motivate anybody? No. Let's just follow the logic of that, right? What's the bottom line reason why you would want an athlete to be well motivated? Bottom line, what is it? To win. To perform, yeah, to win, to perform. So if I'm crucial to their motivation, then at critical performance time, where are they going to want me to be? Right. So what's the likely impact on their performance if I can't be there? Well, that's coming. I know that's coming. What, you think I got the ability and the leeway to be with them at every competition they go to? No. So if I'm crucial to their motivation, I'm just setting them up for failure. Sooner or later, I'm setting them up for failure. And we have a tendency to do this at work with people or parents with our kids, and we do it with the best intention. I understand that. However, how we go about it, maybe there might be a slightly different way of looking at that. So look, consider this. And I don't expect you to tell me anything, but I really want to try and bring something to mind now. I like you to think of something where motivation is an issue, either for you personally, so there's something going on where you're thinking, you know what, my level of motivation around making that happen isn't quite right. Or maybe you can think of somebody else, where you look at them and you go, you know, there's stuff they need to do, they need to get done, but their level of motivation isn't enabling them to push through.
I think, as you're working in the schools, you see kids who've got the potential to do great things, but it's that lack of motivation to turn up to lessons, lack of motivation to do the work.
So my challenge to you is, if there's any one of those kids that comes to mind, think about this. So I need you to get specific now, right? So think of either something for yourself where you recognize that your own motivation isn't where it needs to be, or think of a particular individual, not a general thing, but think of somebody. You're not going to tell anybody, right? So just bring it to mind, right? So as you got that, just store that for one moment. And now, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to think of something that you've achieved. at any point in your life, and again, I'm not going to ask you what it was, but I need you to think of something that you've achieved. However, it needs to be something that didn't come easy to you first time round. So there was some difficulty or challenge or obstacle, but you drove through it, you made it happen. All right? So just give me a nod when you got something in your head, yeah? Okay. I don't need to know what it was, but what I would be interested in hearing from you is this. You know when it got tough, why didn't you give up? Talk to me. Why didn't you give up?
The reward you knew that achieving was better than stopping.
Right, okay. And
You knew the end goal, so.
you knew the end goal, right?
So it's expectations of others as well.
Right?
It's the passion of driving you through, really.
Yeah. Okay. So there's all of that. Now, and partly because I'm just in that mood at the moment, but I think it's also down to the roaring. I'm just I'm just going to be bold now, because every scenario that's in your heads right now, I'll guarantee 3 things in common with every last one of them. Thing number 1, you know when it got difficult, you knew exactly what it was you wanted to happen. You were clear. Why were you clear? You thought it through yourself. Well, there may have been other people involved, other people may have spoken to you about it, but you did the thinking on it. So I know at crucial time, you were clear about what you wanted. The second thing I'll guarantee is this meant something to you. Again, there may have been others involved in it, so you say expectation of others, but I'll guarantee this meant something to you. And the third thing that I know is that no matter how tough it got, you never stopped believing it was possible. You see, when I'm working with anybody, I don't motivate anybody, but whoever's working with me, my job is to make sure they are clear about what it is they're trying to do. They are clear about what it means to them, and they are clear about their level of belief. They have genuine belief that they can do it. If those things are in place, people will generate way more internal motivation and sustain it than I could ever hope to bring from the outside. So you know what? If you can think of somebody whereby you look at them and go, level of motivation not where it is, not where it could be, I'll guarantee the answer to one or more of those questions is not clear in their head. They are either not clear about the what, they're not clear about what it means to them, or they already believe that they can either do it or it will make a difference. And if you're lacking motivation in any area, then I'll challenge you to say one or more of those questions not clear in your head. Because if it was, you push on and you make it happen.
Do you, if you don't want to say, do you then tend to follow that 1, 2, 3? Is that a, so if you're working with an athlete or in business, do you then say, first of all, what is your clear objective? That's number 1. Before we do anything else, what is your objective? Then why are you passionate about getting that objective?
Mm-hmm.
And then why would you not stop, even if everything is not going the way you want to, and then build that belief? Do you work in that order?
Not particularly. I mean, it's a handy order. It just sort of comes to my mind that way, and I think as a logical sequence, it works. What are you doing? What does it mean to you? Do you really believe you can do it? As an easy sequence, then yes, it works. But I'm not suggesting that you've got to tackle them in any particular order. But what I am suggesting is those 3 areas matter, because if people have a real clarity about those 3 areas, they'll get it done, or at least they'll move themselves from that stuck position. Yeah. So like I say, trying to motivate others, I think short term at best, but as a long term sustainable way, not a good idea. But here's a challenge with it. You can't tell anybody the answers to those questions. You just can't. They have to go through it themselves, and when we finish this first bit, we'll do a little bit of something which I think will help to address that and give you an insight as to maybe some ways that we can actually make that work. But the last of those, so let me move into the second area now, because the last of those things I mentioned there was belief. And I think that belief is just, it's one of those weird ones, because you talk to some people and there's often this paradox between sort of belief and proof. Which comes first? You believe something when you see the proof for it, but here's a challenge.